This is the Garage News Desk, the stories with Michael Porter. Jury in A$AP Rocky's felony assault trial gets the case and will start deliberations next week. Jurors in the felony assault trial of A$AP Rocky got the case late Friday after a prosecutor told them in his closing argument that they must set aside their feelings for the hip-hop star, his singing superstar wife Rihanna, and their small children. The Los Angeles jury of 7 women and 5 men got the case late in the day and will begin discussing 2 counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm on Tuesday, after a 3-day weekend. Convictions on both counts could mean up to 24 years in prison. Rihanna came to court shortly after closing arguments began Thursday, as she did often during the 3-week trial. But for the first time, she brought their 2-year-old and 1-year-old sons. Deputy District Attorney John Lewin suggested it was an attempt to manipulate jurors. They brought in 2 adorable children yesterday for closing argument, Lewin said. They haven't been here any other time. And you have to ask yourselves, why children that age would be here in a situation like this? He added, you are not allowed to consider how this might affect Rihanna and his kids. We are all responsible for our own actions in the world. Rihanna was sitting with Rocky's mother and sister, without the children, on Friday. She and Rocky left the courtroom together, surrounded by security. Rocky is accused of firing 2 shots at a former friend on a Hollywood street corner in 2021. His attorneys argued that he only fired blanks from a prop gun he had picked up for security on a music video shoot. During his closing argument, lawyer Joe Tacopina cast his accuser, who goes by A$AP Relly, as the aggressor and an unreliable liar. Tacopina showed the jury belligerent text messages from just before the confrontation, later deleted by Relly, where he urges Rocky to beat him up. The prosecution had shown only Rocky's angry responses to suggest he started the fight. But it was not the opposing lawyer's fault, he said. Their witness lied to them, lied to police, and deleted the messages, Tacopina said. He destroyed evidence. Tacopina showed jurors the transcript of the moment during testimony that he confronted Relly about the messages. At first he said, I don't recall. Then I showed him the messages, Tacopina said. What did he say next? His go-to line. It's fake. It's fake. Anything that crushed him was fake. He dwelled on how combative Relly was on the stand. That was in front of you, Tacopina said. Imagine what he's like in the street. Shifting to the street, Tacopina narrated the surveillance video that partially showed the initial confrontation to say Relly started the fight. He pointed out that the video shows Relly raising his arm to take on Rocky as the first move, though Rocky is out of frame at that moment. If you had to make a decision, the most important in your life or that of your family's, on his word, would you do it? You all know what the answer to that question is, the lawyer said. Then he pointed at Rocky. What you're being asked to do is to make that decision in the most important matter of his life. Relly said his knuckles were grazed by one of the shots, but he was otherwise not injured. Even if jurors don't buy the phony gun argument, they can acquit by finding that Rocky was acting in defense of himself or his friends. Neither side produced a gun as evidence. In his rebuttal, Lewin said, if it is a prop gun, there is no self-defense. Lewin told jurors this could be a 5-minute verdict. Once you decide it's not a prop gun, and it's not a prop gun, he said, the case is over. He returned repeatedly to Rocky's status. He is a big, important man, and everybody serves him, Lewin said. That includes, he said, 2 men from his inner circle who testified he had picked up the prop gun at a music video and for months had been carrying it. They were just liars, start to finish, Lewin said. During a break in the presentation, Judge Mark Arnold told Lewin to stop the references to Rocky's family. The manner in which you did it, I don't think it was improper, the judge said. But you cannot mention again Rihanna being in the courtroom or the kids being in the courtroom. An Alabama woman who said she was raped by rappers Jay-Z and Sean Diddy Combs when she was 13 withdrew her civil lawsuit against both men on Friday, according to court filings. The unidentified woman in December added Jay-Z, whose legal name is Sean Carter, to a lawsuit she had filed against Combs in Manhattan federal court, alleging that she was attacked by the singers in 2000 after Combs' limo driver offered her a ride to an MTV Video Music Awards afterparty. The court document submitted by the woman's attorneys announcing the voluntary dismissal did not include any reasons or explanation for the withdrawal. Jay-Z, who vehemently denied the claims and tried to get extracted from the lawsuit, called the woman's decision to withdraw her claim a victory and said the fictional tale she and her lawyers created was laughable. The frivolous, fictitious, and appalling allegations have been dismissed, he said in a statement posted on social media. This civil suit was without merit and never going anywhere. Combs remains jailed in New York awaiting a criminal trial on federal sex trafficking charges. He also faces a wave of sexual assault lawsuits, many of which were filed by the plaintiff's lawyer, Tony Busby, a Texas attorney who says his firm represents over 150 people, both men and women, who allege sexual abuse and exploitation by Combs. Lawyers for Combs said dismissal of the lawsuit without a settlement confirmed that other lawsuits he is facing are built on falsehoods. For months, we have seen case after case filed by individuals hiding behind anonymity, pushed forward by an attorney more focused on media headlines than legal merit. Just like this claim, the others will fall apart because there is no truth to them, they said in a statement, adding that Combs has never sexually assaulted or trafficked anyone, man or woman, adult or minor. When asked for a response, Busby responded, "No comment," in an email Friday night. Busby's firm, which has set up a 1-800 number for accusers, has filed a wave of lawsuits against the hip-hop mogul. Busby's lawsuits allege that many of the people he represents were abused at parties in New York, California, and Florida where individuals were given drinks that were laced with drugs. Statements from both rappers derisively referred to Busby and his firm as the 1-800 lawyer. Jay-Z accused him of hiding behind Jane Doe for financial gain. When they quickly realize that the money grab is going fail, they get to walk away with no repercussions, he wrote. The system has failed. Jay-Z and Combs are part of a generation of hip-hop titans who rose to prominence in the 2000s, emerging as wide-ranging entrepreneurs and two of the world's wealthiest rappers. The artists have collaborated over the years, with Jay-Z being featured on Combs' debut album, No Way Out, and Combs appearing on Jay-Z's sophomore album, In My Lifetime, Volume 1. Diddy launched his Bad Boy Records around the same time Jay-Z launched his Rockefeller record label. The pair has been frequently photographed together at events. Jay-Z has won 25 Grammys while Diddy has collected 3 trophies. His Roc Nation company served as co-executive producer of the recent Super Bowl halftime show. Homeowner pleads guilty to shooting black teen Ralph Yarl who rang the wrong doorbell. An 86-year-old Kansas City man pleaded guilty Friday to a lesser charge in the 2023 shooting of Ralph Yarl, a black honor student who rang the white man's doorbell by mistake, in a case that shocked the country and renewed national debate about gun policies and race in the U.S. Andrew Lester was scheduled to stand trial next week on charges of first-degree assault and armed criminal action in the shooting of the then 16-year-old, who survived and is now a freshman at Texas A&M, where he is a member of ROTC and the school's marching band. As part of a plea deal, Lester pleaded guilty to second-degree assault, a charge that Judge David Chamberlain said carries up to 7 years behind bars. Lester, who will be sentenced on March 7th, was hunched over as he was wheeled into the courtroom, his hands folded. Yarl and his mother, Cleo Nagby, sat in the front row. In a statement issued after Lester's plea, Nagby thanked her family's supporters who saw Ralph's humanity and rejected a world where fear and prejudice endanger innocent lives. While this marks a step toward accountability, true justice requires consequences that reflect the severity of his actions. Anything less would be a failure to recognize the harm he has caused, she said. The state will seek a 5-year prison sentence for Lester, Clay County prosecuting attorney Zachary Thompson told reporters after the hearing. Self-defense has limits, Thompson said. Under the first-degree assault charge, Lester faced a sentence of up to 30 years behind bars. One of the key elements of second-degree assault is that defendants have the burden of injecting the issue of influence of sudden passion arising from adequate cause. This is probably perceived as some middle ground, and the heat of passion would be what was the motivation for the shooting, said J.R. Hobbs, a Kansas City defense attorney who is not involved in the case. If he was afraid or whatever, it may not rise to a full defense. The parties might agree to that because on one hand, it's a felony conviction, no trial, no possible appeal. On the other hand, with a lesser statutory limit, the defendant's exposure is less as well. Jarl showed up on Lester's doorstep on the night of April 13, 2023, after he mixed up the streets where he was supposed to pick up his twin siblings. Lester's attorney, Steve Salmon, has long argued that Lester was acting in self-defense and that he was terrified by the stranger who knocked on his door as he settled into bed. Authorities say Lester shot Jarl twice, first in the head, then in the arm. Jarl testified at an earlier hearing that he rang the bell and then waited for someone to answer for what seemed longer than normal. As the inner door opened, Jarl said, he reached out to grab the storm door. "I assume these are my brother's friend's parents," he said. He said Lester shot him in the head and uttered, "Don't come here ever again." Although the bullet didn't penetrate Jarl's brain, the impact knocked him to the ground. Jarl said Lester then shot him in the arm. The teen was taken to the hospital and released 3 days later. His family said the shooting took a big emotional toll, and they have filed a lawsuit against the retired aircraft mechanic. Salmon said last year that Lester's physical and mental condition had deteriorated. He said Lester has had heart issues, a broken hip, and has been hospitalized. Lester also has lost 50 pounds, 23 kilograms, which Salmon blamed on the stress of intense media coverage and death threats he subsequently received. During Friday's hearing, the judge asked Lester whether he was in poor health. Lester responded yes. "Ralph is doing his best to be okay," a spokesperson for the family said in a text. A judge had previously ordered a mental evaluation of Lester, but allowed for the trial to proceed after its completion. The results of that evaluation were not released publicly. This is the Garage News Desk, the stories. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourself. I am Michael Porter.